towards the third panel discussion. The topic of the discussion is sustainable energy. To enlighten the students, we have our alumni amongst us. First up, we have Shri Anil Bareja, alumnus of 7680 batch. Currently, he is acting as MD of Bareja Solar and Projects Private Limited. He is a seasoned professional with an educational background in mechanical engineering, commerce, and marketing management. He comes with a cross-functional industry experience of more than 40 years. He is a well-known name in the solar and polymer industry, along with a rich experience on a wide variety of industrial projects in multiple domains. Next, we have Shri Sujoy Ghosh, Vice President of First Solar, who is supervising the company's activities in India and Asia Pacific region since 8 years. He has 30 years of industrial experience in India. In his 9 years with GE, he has worked in a diverse range of business from T&D to thermal power generation to renewables. For the last 5 years, he led GE's thermal products and renewable sales in India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. Our next panelist, Shri Abhishek Sharma, is currently working as Senior Deputy General Manager in Railway Energy Management Company Limited since 2004. His experience involves various enterprises for purpose of state and pre-shipment technical inspection of goods. His current nature of job involves formulating proposals and implementing projects related to green and renewable power planning for Indian Railways. And we have Shri Sunil Gandhi, alumnus of 92-96 batch, having 24 years of experience in telecom services, software development, and manufacturing. He has handled portfolios of operations head and chief operating officers in the past. He is founder of a last mile delivery service, Freight Card, which handles logistics through electric mobility. Now I would like to hand over the mic to Umang, who will be moderating the session.
Thank you, Ayush. So let us begin the third panel, and it is about sustainable energy. Before beginning, I would like to state some general pointers. Each panelist will express their expert views in 5 minutes, and the last minute will be utilized by the speaker for delivering his concluding remarks. The discussion will be followed by a questionnaire round of 10 minutes, and any questions regarding discussions are to be written in the chat window. They will be answered once the discussion is over. The audience is requested to keep their video and mic off unless instructed otherwise. Now let us begin the discussion. To enlighten the audience about sustainable energy, I will request Shri Anil Bareja ji to take over. Sir, please.
Thank you. Solar today is a very hot subject, and we keep on getting very many different questions on this. Solar is a sunrise industry in India with tremendous scope in business, investments, and sustainability. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Now, with focus on the green energy requirement in our power generation and environmental issues, the need of solar in India is imminent and obligatory. In fact, government has made many obligations in installing of solar power systems in some states, and installing a solar system in domestic, commercial, or industrial is very economical now as on today, with fantastic results, and it has tremendous savings also. Now let me explain the growth of this industries and up till now and what will be in future. Let us come to the government policy. The government has a policy of doing about 100 gigawatts. That means 1 lakh megawatts up to 2022. And up till now, practically we have done almost 30 gigawatt. Government or other records may say another figures, but practically in working is approximately 30 gigawatts. And in 3 years, almost in 3 years, or maybe less than 3 years, we have to do 70 or maybe 65 gigawatts. So the scope is tremendous. A lot of work is to be done in this. Another is the new target of government in 2030 is to go for renewable energy up to 450 gigawatt. 4.5 lakh megawatt, जिसमें कि solar will be around 350 gigawatt. 40% will be the rooftop solar systems. अब आगे growth जो इसमें है वो basically the industry is poised for following growth, following industries. One is expansion of solar systems all over places, solar generation, and then it is on solar equipment. Solar equipment is basically the main requirement of Indian industry. Solar equipment, there are so many things like solar modules, solar inverters, and many different. ये पीछे से आवाज आ रही है उसको
प्लीज कंटिन्यू, म्यूट कर दिए.
तो उसमें सोलर मॉड्यूल्स हैं, सेल्स हैं, इन्वर्टर्स हैं, लिथियम बैटरीज हैं, एंड देन बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन के लिए बहुत चीजें हैं जो which has no bounds, you know. Solar modules जो है at present is mostly being imported, almost 92% is being imported, और जो 8% इंडिया में अभी बन भी रहा है उसमें almost 95 to 97% components जो हैं वो सब import हो रहे हैं. So you can just imagine कि 100 gigawatt 1 लाख मेगावाट या फिर जब हम 3.5 लाख मेगावाट में जाएंगे तो हमें कितना सोलर मॉड्यूल्स इंडिया में बनाने हैं और कितने सोलर सेल्स इंडिया में बनाने हैं. तो बहुत चीजें बनानी है. So there is a huge potential in growth of this industry. Solar cell hardly 3 to 4% made in India, all are being imported. 95% is imported from China, and there is a very bad experience about the solar panels and solar cells from China up till now. They are very cheap, but then accordingly they give the results also. Now coming to government support in this, the government has now introduced safeguard duty of 20% on imports of solar panels and solar cells, only to boost up our domestic industry and all. And it is now helping, and slowly domestic industry has started improving also. Now coming to the opportunities for you students, I would like to say that much is to be done for right manpower actually in this industry, especially the engineers. This industry is short of real qualified solar engineers and experts. Due to this, there is lack of quality control and proper design and engineering and proper system. So this field is open for many, in many avenues, in different departments, right from design to engineering, then maintenance, installation, and marketing, not only on just solar system, but all of the equipments also. So we feel that there are so many employment opportunities. I've been having discussion with VC also of starting some solar course in YMCA, and since it's a government college, certain formalities are required, but at least we can start subjects also. And we have a subject of power and renewable energy in MTech, so we can add a special course or a book in that in solar. In BTech also we can add at least some books on solar. So this is there, and we should produce more solar engineers.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So we are having some time constraint.
I'm finishing. That's. For example, I would say that my son was a solar engineer, and he didn't find much to do to his caliber in India 6 years back. He went on to go for his master's in Arizona State University, and he doesn't want to come back to India because the quality and all the things are not being done followed here. So we need solar engineers, and you should also go into this industry, which has a tremendous scope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Your words were really adorable. Now moving further, I will request Shri Sujoy Ghosh ji to take over this virtual mic and throw some light on sustainable energy.
I think.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay, good. So thank you to everybody for inviting me, and it's a privilege to be sharing the stage with my senior Anil Bareja, who just spoke now. I think he has given a good introduction on solar. I would like to perhaps take a step back and put a context of where we are as a country today. As all of you know, in 2015-16, the Indian government signed up to the Paris Accord and committed that by 2030, 40% of India's energy needs, electric energy needs, would be fulfilled by renewable sources. Now, if you put that in context, it's a huge opportunity, and this is really disrupting the power sector, the conventional power sector, in a big and massive way. To give you some numbers, if you look at the current state of the energy mix on the grid, we have about total 350 gigawatts of capacity. 55% of that comes from coal, and that forms the base load of our country's generation. We have about 12% hydro, and roughly about 23% of the energy today comes from renewable sources, which is solar and wind and biomass. Now, you think fast forward this to 2030, in this decade, in this current decade, this whole situation is going to turn on its head. And as we exit 2030, you would have about 800 gigawatts, of total grid capacity, of which 40%, maybe even more, would comprise of renewable energy. And the reasons for that are very clear. Today, both wind and solar are the cheapest form of energy on the grid, right? So as you think about electricity, it's a regulated subject. Everybody wants the cheapest cost of power. So today, solar is at 2 rupee 50, 2 rupee 60 paisa, wholesale power on the grid. Wind is also below 3 rupees. If you look at new coal plants which are getting built today, the first year cost of power is about 5 rupees. And the fuel price on coal plants or on gas plants is always a pass-through to the consumers. You can't predict the long-term price of fossil resources. So that's one. It's going to remain the lowest cost energy on the grid. Affordability is a big issue. The other thing is, as we think about a country, energy security becomes a huge concern for us. And instead of depending on imported resources like gas and oil, or even imported coal, because a lot of the Indian coal which is there is high ash and therefore has a consequence of polluting the environment. So energy security is another big concern for any country, and for us particularly. And as renewables expand, it reduces our dependence on imports. And the third part is it's clean, right? I mean, the carbon intensity of renewables is a lot lower than fossil. That's a no-brainer to think about. And therefore, today as we look at 2020 to 2030, the present and the future is going to be heavily dominated by renewables. So any of you who are thinking of getting into the power systems side of things, into the power sector, do look at renewables as perhaps your first to fifth choice. I mean, conventional power is perhaps an industry which is a sunset industry as we speak about it. Now, all of this is good, but renewable power by nature is infirm. And when I say inform, it means that you cannot predict when the energy generation will happen. Yes, you can predict to some extent, but not so accurately as what you could do with thermal power. And therefore, deploying more and more renewables poses a challenge on the grid. And that gives an opportunity then for technologies to come in which can help balance the grid between renewables, a heavy concentration of renewables, and how do you balance between when renewable energy gets generated and when you have the load curve. And we're looking at storage in various shapes and forms. We're also looking at other technologies like pumped hydro, for example, which could play that balancing role. And of course, gas-based power or diesel-based power in the short term in very small quantities. So I think, from a future standpoint, the potential for renewables in India, by the way, India is perhaps outside of China and the US, the largest international market for renewables. So a lot of action happening here in our country. You don't need to go anywhere else. There is a significant hunger for talent. It's a new industry. It's an industry where you're encouraged to break paradigms. As in any field which disrupts conventional thinking, you need people who will challenge the status quo, who will try to disrupt the paradigm, bring in new thinking, and I think pave the way for a cleaner future for not just us, but our next generation. I'd stop here and pass the mic back to the anchor.
Thank you very much, sir. Your words were very magnificent. Now I request Shri Abhishek Sharma ji to take over this virtual mic. Sir, please.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I hope that I am audible as well as visible. Am I audible, I believe?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for giving the opportunity to speak in this conference. And I'm thankful to my previous speakers for setting the context of the topic. However, most of the points have already been elaborated regarding the demand and the upcoming opportunities. And since I work for Indian Railways, Railway Energy Management Company is currently managing the power procurement portfolio of Indian Railways. So my presentation will revolve around the energy scenario of Indian Railways, as well as the present and the future of renewable energy in the country. First of all, I would like to share some key statistics. Indian Railways is the third largest network in the world, having a track length of 1.25 lakhs kilometer. And out of that, 55% of the track is electrified as on date. And Indian Railways has an ambitious plan of 100% electrification of track in the next 3 to 4 years. This means there will be rapid electrification in the Indian Railways, which will lead to the energy requirements, and along with this energy requirement, all the systems will get electrified in the coming years. Beside this, it is the single largest consumer of electricity in the country. Currently, the peak traction demand is 2200 megawatt, which is expected to rise by 3500 megawatt in the 2030. And beside the biggest single largest consumer, it is the biggest land holder also. So we have large vacant land parcels available where Indian Railways has set an ambitious plan to deploy the renewable power. As far as our country's renewable energy potential is concerned, fortunately, we are located at the tropical line and our renewable potential is 1000 gigawatt. At the same time, Indian Railways has also set ambitious plan. Currently, as far as the available land is concerned, we have set the ambitious target of deployment of 20 gigawatt solar plants in railways. At the same time, India has also committed ambitious targets at the international platform to reduce its emission level. So it also paves the way for the bright future of renewables in India. And railways has also set a target of net zero emission of carbon pollution by 2030, which implies that in the coming time there will be huge replacement of diesel locomotive with the electric locomotive. And at the same time we are also doing pilot projects on alternate fuel by running our locomotives on CNG, biofuel, LPG and others. At the same time, we have already started deployment of solar rooftop projects on the station buildings, various training institutes, headquarters, hospitals, schools, and other establishments of Indian Railways. Besides that, Indian Railways has also established 100 gigawatt of wind plant and wind solar hybrid plant. So beside the use of electricity for hauling the trains, this will also have the demand for railway station modernization and the passenger amenities and information system. There will be huge demands of lift, escalators, air conditioning, SCADA, building management systems, electrical products, as well as it will also generate the employment opportunity of qualified manpower in railways as well as in the market. And one more thing, currently the government focus is on promoting the Make in India and domestic industry. So since government is the biggest consumer of the electricity, earlier as Mr. Bareja has said, sir, that there was no restriction on the source of solar panels. But with the current change in scenario, current change of international scenario, Indian government is focusing on the domestically manufactured cells as well as panels as well as the balance of system. India's current manufacturing capacity is around 3 to 4 gigawatt annual capacity of domestic manufactured solar cells as well as panel. And it is concentrated to 4 or 5 manufacturers. So in the coming time, since government will be making it mandatory in all the government purchases to use the domestically the indigenous manufactured cell and plants, therefore this is a very upcoming field where one can have manufacturing as well as job opportunities, because there is no scarcity of demand. The off-taker is government all through the India, various discoms. Therefore there will be a huge demand in the coming time.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, we are having some time constraint.
Okay, I'll touch upon 2-3 topics, right? So beside this, there are 2-3 also key contributors in the growth: the rise in the per capita income, the rural electrification, rapid urbanization and electrification, railway electrification and the coming of DFCC and metro trains, government focus and promotion on green energy, and the increased capacity of domestic industries. These are the key factors which are contributors in the growth of renewable energy. However, there are some challenges associated with the proliferation of renewable energy, but with the policy interventions, government is doing the best efforts to make all the policies industry friendly. So my message to the students is that since it is an electrical product, so there is no restriction of the mechanical engineers as well as electrical engineers. Opportunities are open for all the streams. They are in the design, manufacturing, project management. The need of the hour is to prepare ourselves for the technical as well as the managerial skills required in this job. Thank you very much. I have concluded my thoughts looking into the limitation of the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You gave a majestic piece of knowledge to the audience. Now I request Shri Sunil Gandhi to take over this virtual mic and enhance the audience about sustainable energy.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible and visible. So I would like to thank Mr. Bareja and of course the entire team who has given me this opportunity to talk about the renewable. I'll be more specific to the discussions towards the battery technology, which is coming up in India, and of course, which is the need of the hours. And Mr. Sujoy has already touched upon the energy storage system, which is so-called ESS, and that's the need of the hours. Even though we are majorly focusing on the renewable energy, deploying solars, hydros, and other technology. So the energy storage will help us not only keeping the grid reliable, more sustainable, but it is going to ensure that we don't waste the energy which is being generated by the alternate source like solar and the hydros. So this is going to really help on the stability of the grid as well, to do the peak shaving of the fluctuations which normally happens in the grid. So this is something which is we are looking forward to get it implemented in India, because we see lot of fluctuations coming up during the transmission of the power, and this is where the new technology is going to play a big role as far as the battery is concerned. Now, not only the ESS side, but we see a lot of innovations happening on the battery front as far as the electric mobility is concerned. So we are, we have seen a lot of discussion happening towards the electric mobility. We are seeing towards the new technology which is coming on IoT based and all those things. So this is the need of the hours, where we start looking into the chemistries which is getting used on the batteries, which is very popular nowadays is lithium ion battery, which is getting more and more deployment across the various segments because of their own benefits versus the lead acid batteries. And that's more government is also looking for to promote the lithium technology and the other technologies which is faster, which is safe, and which is not impacting the environment. Because if I talk about the lead acid, that's going to damage the environment, which is not in case of lithium or the other technologies which is coming up. So this is more on the technology which is changing towards the battery front, and that's going to help us building our own storage system, building the EV platforms, which is going to create a sustainable environment for us. Now, as far as I talk about the university, where we keep on interacting with the IITs and other universities and the colleges to look for the new ideas and the innovations towards a battery technology, towards the EV technology. So how do we see our university is looking towards those opportunities to have an incubation cell within our own college and start working on the new innovations which is happening, not only of course the battery front and all other technology which we have heard during the various sessions. So few of the key components which is being used as a part of the battery setup is the battery management system is one of the key to control the lithium ion battery solution, which is not in case of lead acid, because lead acid is not having any control as far as the voltage and the current is concerned, where the lithium needs to be controlled because of their thermal runaway. So the BMS is one of the key part which, a lot of startups are coming up. They're developing the new technologies, which is IoT based, which is GPRS based, GPS based. You can track your, batteries. You can see the performance of each and every cell, what is happening on the cell, and how do we bring the efficiency in place. So there's a huge opportunity which is there on the battery front. And we are going to gradually see the replacement of lead acid batteries coming with more futuristic technologies like lead acid, solid state batteries, and many more which is going to be placed in the future for us. So another big thing which we are talking on the energy storage is a creation of the microgrids, where we see a lot of villages, there is no power, there's no transmission lines so far being made available. So this is a concept which is going to help us to generate or to ensure there's a power availability in the specific village. So we have a combination of solar and the big energy storage to ensure during the daytime, solar is charging the battery and the battery is giving the backup during the off. We don't have the backup like sunshine and all those. So there are many things which is happening on the battery front. So my request to the youngster and of course the people who are on the call how do we start looking into the new technology which is coming up very fast, and which is going to change the entire game as far as the mobility is concerned, as far as the storage is concerned, and the performance monitoring of those application which is going to happen through the technology which is happening on the battery front. So I think this is more or less, I mean, there are so many numbers which I can talk about what is going to be the future on the energy storage. If I talk about stationary storage, it is going to be 545 gigawatt of energy storage requirement on the stationary side, which can be grid supporting, which can be telecom, which can be data centers, which can be miscellaneous application, including the railways, which Abhishek talked about. Electric mobility is where we are looking for 2000 gigawatt of energy storage. That is the battery technology requirement to run our electric mobility as far as the Indian sustainability is concerned. So I think this is more or less I just wanted to talk about. So this is complementing the existing the renewable projects which we have, like solar and hydro. So how do we integrate these? Energy is not getting wasted and it is getting stored as in the form of batteries, which is fast charging batteries, and it's more reliable as far as the life is concerned. So that is all from my side on the side subject, though there are so many figures to talk about, but looking at the time constraint, I would be stopping here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. You gave a very splendid piece of knowledge to the audience. Now I hand over this virtual mic to my senior, Puneet, sir.
That was a really great session. And now moving straight on to the questionnaire round. We have some of our questions, and first one is from Akash, who is asking about what are the guidelines that should be enforced in a nation when moving on to the electric vehicles or this type of system. He wants to ask, like every industry uses power, and the load on the power supply industry will also increase when the vehicles run on the road, and the day-by-day consumption will also increase. So what type of guidelines should be enforced by the government so as to ensure a smooth transition into renewable energy sector? Sujoy sir, would you like to answer this question? Anil sir?
Sujoy is not there?
I guess.
Okay, anyway, chalo.
I can add something to this if allowed, sir.
Yeah, you can proceed, please.
Yeah, being in a PSU, I would like to add one thing, that government has made it mandatory to use renewable power to a certain percentage to all the bulk consumers. That is called renewable purchase obligation, RPO, what we call it. Like if you are consuming 100 units or 100 megawatt of electricity, compulsory you have to use certain percentage, that is around 8 to 10% of solar and 8 to 7% of wind energy. So this is on the regulatory and rule policy part, that government has made it mandatory that every entity has to use this. So this is what I can add. And about e-vehicles and mobility, Bareja sir may add something to it.
Sunil, would you like to reply or should I reply?
No, maybe you can proceed, sir. So anything which is missing, I'll add on that.
Yeah, okay. See, with the growth of industry, of course, in India, there will be a lot of power requirement and solar or any renewable energy will be an alternate energy and a supplement to that energy. So it is very much a requirement today. Plus, considering the green energy, the environment, this thing also, this is very, very necessary, which in India is, in fact, is not being considered much. But in other countries, you know, if you go to Europe or US and all other countries, they really consider environment to be on top priority, and we are not much A normal person is not much aware of that. But I think after COVID, many people have understood also when they have found the pollution level down and many things, improving. So they have. Now coming back to this e-vehicles and all, e-vehicle is also again another step for environment, and it is going to come in a big way. Of course, in the beginning, everything is expensive, investments are more, and things are costlier. So same is in e-vehicles. In that case, I have to say is that government has to play a very, very vital role while going for these e-vehicles, and they have to subsidize many things. Like lithium batteries, unless they subsidize lithium batteries, it will be very difficult for e-vehicle people or two-wheelers especially to come into lithium batteries. And lithium batteries, I would say, and Sunil would agree, is that they are the most vital part for any e-vehicle.
That's right.
For these, for e-vehicle charging also, another step is charging stations. Charging stations will use, again, power. And this power is most likely to be from solar. Here again, solar will play a vital role. And anything else? Yes.
Yes, sir. Akash, I hope your answer is clear now. Question is clear now. So the next question is, what is holding India back in moving into the renewable energy sector so as to reduce the Chinese imports? For example, the polysilicon plants.
Sujoy, you will answer. I have a very
Sure, I can answer that one.
I can take a full session on this.
So I think nothing is holding India back to localize the manufacturing of solar. I think as the industry has evolved, solar really started in 2010, and the first 5 to 7 years, the industry had to scale up, because unless you scale demand, the manufacturing investments don't happen, because manufacturing solar panels or any component, whether it's electrical, whether it's, if all of us have seen how the high voltage electrical industry in India has scaled up, we are the world leaders with Siemens, ABB, Hitachi, everybody manufacturing in India. The reason is because we have the third largest power grid in the world. Now, when we started solar in 2010, the market was very small, the demand was very small. And as solar tariffs kept coming down, the demand for solar kept going up, because more and more consumers, which were essentially the distribution companies, kept buying more and more energy. So as we look at now to 20.
Sujoy sir, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I don't know how that gets muted, but I'm really sorry. I'm not very familiar with Zoom. But the short answer is the market had to scale, which is what has happened. But also remember that China has built up a lot of supply chain for this industry. Over 90% of the world's supply chain for photovoltaics is in China. And it's not an easy task to dislodge that, because at the end of the day, the consumer, the company which buys solar panels and the consumer who buys solar power doesn't care whether the panels come from India or from China or anywhere in the world, because everybody wants to have the lowest cost of energy. And so what the government's now done is you come up with policy as part of the whole Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, where as a country we are looking at how do we create self-reliance in our supply chain across multiple industries. Solar being one of them, so is wind, so is other elements of the power sector. And when you do that, you have to give incentives for manufacturers to come and invest. These incentives are in form of tax subsidies. These incentives are in form of lower cost of energy, because photovoltaics manufacturing solar panels is very energy intensive. It also has some element of protection in the market, which I think what some of the other speakers referred to in terms of the government, the government procurement focusing only on panels and cells which are made in India. Likewise, it's the same thing for the wind sector. And so, if you look at the wind, which as an industry had emerged probably 10 years ahead of solar, today India has a very large in-country manufacturing of wind turbines. We've got all the large global major companies manufacturing wind turbines in India. And I don't see solar lagging far behind. I think over the next 5 years, we would see the landscape shift, and perhaps 60–70% of our demand within India would be met from products manufactured in India.
Okay, thank you, sir. I guess we are done with the questionnaire session. So I guess it would be safe to conclude that the renewable energy sector is full of opportunities and the youth should be more into this sector. So now moving on to the next panel discussion.